Hello guys, and welcome to another video. So on this video what we'll be doing is doing revision basically. So our we're looking at our vectors and scalars in terms of this video. So let's get right into it. um, they say here that we have a baby that leaves a bowl of food on the floor and crawls westwards to fetch a toy placed 5 meters away. At the same time, a dog walks eastwards towards the baby. It takes the baby 30 seconds to reach the toy. The dog walks past the toy to eat the baby's food in the bowl. So this is our baby. The baby is moving from the bowl to the toy, and the dog is moving from this position here towards the baby's bowl. Okay, and the first question or instruction is for us to define the term displacement in words. Okay, so to define displacement, you will simply say that displacement is, so you say it is the change, it is the change in position of an object, Okay, so this will be one of your definitions. There's another one. Okay, the other one is for you to say displacement. You could say, or displacement is the difference of position or in position, I'm not sure. So it is the difference, let's say, in position in space. So those are your definitions. You will either say displacement is the change in position of an object, or you will say it is the difference in position in space. Okay, choose your preferred definition. Now let's move on to 2.2. For 2.2, they say determine, let me just get my pointer. They say determine the position of the dog relative to the baby before they both moved. So if they say we have to determine the position of the dog relative to the baby, it means that the baby in this case is our frame of reference. So we want to find out where is the dog positioned if the baby is our frame of reference. And we can see that for us to see the position of the dog, we will look at this distance here. Let me change my color for that. So we will look at the distance from here to here, and that is 5 meters, and then we'll add it with this distance here. Okay, and that is 7 meters. So based on where the dog is 5 meters plus 7 meters away from the baby. But where? We can see that the dog is on the left hand side of the baby. So when we add 7 plus 5, we could say that we'll say that 7 plus 5 is equal to 12 meters, right? And this tells us the position. In fact, we could say that, yeah, let's put it this way first. So we'll say 7 plus 5 is 12 meters, and then when we conclude, we'll then say that the dog is 12 meters away from the baby the dog is 12 meters away from the baby to the left. Yeah, this is what we could say. The dog is 12 meters away from the baby to the left, because we see that we have this distance of 5 meters and then we have this distance of 7 meters. So when we add the two, they give us 12, and we see that the dog is on the left hand side of the baby. Okay, so that means, or we could say, in fact, because here we are given this, yeah guys, I forgot about this. They've given us that we have west and east, so we can say, looking at this arrow here, it's facing on the west, so the dog is on the west hand side of the baby. So yeah, that's what you should say here. Let me just erase. So we'll say the dog is 12 meters away from the baby to the west. Yeah, let's say to the west side of the baby. Yes, to the west side of the baby. Yeah, that's it. Or you could simply say the dog is 12 meters west from the baby. 12 meters west, yeah, from the baby. But this is the conclusion I prefer. I hope, guys, it makes sense. Okay, now guys, let's look at 2.3. I hope 2.2 makes sense. We'll now look at 2.3. Let me change color. So for 2.3, they say calculate the average velocity of the baby. I think before we calculate average velocity, let's define average velocity. Average velocity, in terms of a definition, will be what? The rate of change of position. That is the definition of average velocity. So guys, if they say calculate something, firstly start by defining that thing, and then from there you can do your calculations. And now, before we actually calculate the velocity of the baby, the average velocity that is, let's list the information that we have regarding the baby. So here they are saying we have to calculate the average velocity of the baby. If we go back to the statement, we were told that our baby will leave a bowl of food on the floor and crawls westwards to fetch a toy placed 5 meters away. So it means that our baby will travel for 5 meters basically. So their displacement will be 5 meters. Okay, but we also have to consider something else here, that this baby is moving to the west side. So if we are choosing to assign signs here in terms of what is our west and what is our east, we'll say our east is positive and our west is negative. So this baby is moving to the left hand side, or to the westerly direction, towards the westerly direction, and it's in the negative direction. If we remember, displacement is a vector, right? A vector is supposed to have magnitude and direction. So in this case, we'll regard this 5 meters of ours as negative. Or another way which we can look at this is to say the direction of motion here will be positive. So the direction of motion will be positive. What does that mean? It means, but you know what, guys, let's not confuse it. Let's just say west is negative and east is positive. So 5 meters here will be negative because this baby is moving from this direction, from the east side, which is positive, to the west side, which is towards the negative side. So our displacement in this case will be -5. So what we'll do is to say we are listing our information by saying change in x is equal to -5, and we will also look at the time. They say that it took the baby 30 seconds. So this is our information. Let me just highlight it. This is our time, 30 seconds, and this is our displacement, 5 meters, but to the west. That's our displacement has been made to be negative. Then we will now put down our our time. So change in t will be equal to 30 seconds. After listing this information, we know that our velocity in this case is unknown. After listing this information, what are we going to do? We are going to put down our formula. So our formula to find average velocity is v is equal to change in x divided by change in t. Then from here we are going to substitute. Okay, how are we going to substitute? What are we going to substitute? The answer is simple. Our change in x, which is our displacement, and that's negative 5, divided by our time, which is 30 seconds. Put it down there. Then let the calculator do the rest of the work. Okay guys, so when I say negative 5 divided by 30, the answer I get is negative 0.16667. But that means I'm going to round off to 2 decimal places. And if I round off to 2 decimal places, it means my answer will be negative 0.17. Yes, what? Meters per second. But let's remember something about our velocity. Our velocity is a vector, right? And if our velocity is a vector, it means it must have both magnitude and direction. And I never want my answer to have this negative. No. What this negative tells me is the direction in which my velocity is moving towards. And we said whatever that is negative will be moving towards the westerly direction. Remember that. So that means when I conclude here, I should say my answer is therefore 0.17 meters per second west. This is my answer. Okay, this is the average velocity of the baby. It's 0.17 meters per second towards what? The westerly direction, because that's where our baby is moving towards. Our baby is moving this way to the west, and west according to this is going to be negative. I hope that makes sense, guys. Now let's look at the last question. All right, so for the last question, they say if the average speed of the dog is twice that of the baby, calculate how long it would take the dog to reach the food bowl from the moment the dog started moving. So for us to solve this question, this is what we're going to do. Firstly, we are told about average speed. Okay, average speed. Can you guess what is it that I'm going to ask you? What I'm going to ask you guys is for you to tell me what is the definition of average speed. Okay, so if we define average speed, this is how we are going to define it. Okay, we will say that average speed is the total distance traveled per total time. Average speed is the total distance traveled per total time. Then the formula for average speed will be what? Will be okay, my mistake there. Let me just go back. The formula for average speed will be V, or you could say VAVE, is equal to distance over change in time. This is the formula for average speed. But what we are told here is that average speed is twice that of the baby. So in this case, our average speed will be V is equal to, we know that the speed of the baby was 0.17. Okay, I know here we were looking for velocity, but velocity is still the same as us talking about speed. The only difference is that our speed will not have any direction. Thus, it will be speed. So what we'll do is to say 0.17 multiplied by 2, because they are saying the average speed of the dog is twice that of the baby. And when we say 0.17 times 2, what we get we should get 0.34 meters per second. Remember that average speed is a vector, so we don't have to put direction here. Okay, and now that we're done with finding our average speed, we will move on to listing another information. And the other thing we need, this is 2.4 by the way, the other thing we need here is what is the value of the distance. Remember that the dog is moving from this point here up until this point, so it's 7 meters plus 5 meters to get here. And we already said that was a distance of what, 12 meters. So we'll say our distance is 12 meters. Once we have found this distance, now we can finally find the time. Remember, that's what we are looking for. We are looking for change in time. We want to know what our time is. Okay, let me just erase here to create space for me to write. Okay, so we have our average speed, we have our distance, we are looking for a time. Remember again that our formula here will be V with that line over there to show that this is average speed is equal to distance divided by change in time. Then from here we'll substitute what is our average speed. Our average speed is 0.34 is equal to our distance is 12 meters divided by our change in time, which we do not know. From here we'll do mathematics, cross multiplication. Delta t times 0.34 will be 0.34 delta t is equal to 1 multiplied by 12 will be 12. Then we divide by 0.34 on both sides. 0.34. These will cancel, therefore our delta t will be equal to what? Let's see. So we'll say 12 divided by 0.34, and our time will be 35, let's see, 29 seconds. And yeah, that is how you basically answer this question, guys. If there's something you didn't understand, simply just play back the video. And yeah, as you answer these questions, or rather as you are watching this video, I'll be happy if you pause it, okay, and try to answer the questions once more if you didn't understand. Okay, see you on the next one. Bye.